Arthur Schopenhauer once said that a sense of humor is the only divine quality of man. A sense of humor likely evolved as a social bonding tool, helping individuals attract mates and strengthen group cohesion. Laughter aids in navigating social situations by allowing people to recognize incongruities and relieve tension, which can enhance survival. In Western culture, an ability to be funny has long been held in high regard. Friedrich Nietzsche believed humor could shatter idols and clear space for new values. Writing in Thus Spoke Zarathustra that not by wrath does one kill, but by laughter. This Nietzsche quote flew in the face of some of the teachings from the early Christian fathers. St. John Chrysostom, one of the most influential preachers of early Christianity, warned against laughter, warning that, where there is laughter and much talk, the devil is present. Years earlier, Plato had distrusted comedy, condemning laughter as disruptive and irrational. He wrote in the Republic that violent laughter almost always produces a violent reaction. In Puritan New England, public amusement was suppressed. Sabbath laws banned theater, dancing, and games. The Amish and the Mennonites don't ban humor outright, but they avoid sarcasm, mockery, and worldly comedy, preferring plainness and seriousness. Certain Islamic societies aren't big fans of satire and anti-religious comedy, as evidenced by the Charlie Hebdo attack. Dante Alighieri was an aspiring stand-up comedian. He'd been honing his craft for several years, traveling from town to town, performing in front of half-filled clubs, trying to find his voice in an era in which comedy was never more than a mouse click away.
So I was on a date at Red Lobster with a blonde chick, and I asked her, "Does the carpet match the drapes?" And she said, "Absolutely, check it out for yourself." Well, she lowered her panties, and wouldn't you know it, bitch had one of them troll dolls hanging out of her pussy. Yeah, bitch trolled me.
After a particularly bad set in Baltimore, Dante opted to take the edge off with some drinks at the bar. The next thing he knew, he found himself face to face with a man he'd never seen before, a somber man.
"It's curtains, kid." "Curtains?" "Yeah, I always heard it as drapes, even though I'm not exactly sure what they are. But you tell it the way you want, Pops, and I'll tell it my way. How about that?" "What I mean to tell you, kid, is it's over. All of it. Your set, your comedy career, your life."
The young comedian, feeling like a confused kid on the first day of school, stared incredulously at the old man with the forever frown.
"Hey, what's going on here, Pops? What's the deal? Did you slip me a Mickey?" "I was once as you are. A jester, a man of mirth, a fool. Of course, I took a more conventional approach. I actually included punchlines. But laughter has no place here, boy. And jokes don't exist in hell. At least not original ones." "Yeah, there's another thing that doesn't exist here. It's called..." "Hey, what's going on here? Why can't I finish my joke? What is this malarkey?" "You can't tell jokes here. At least not original ones. You're in comedy hell."
The old man went on to explain that his name was Virgil, and he would serve as Dante's guide through the 9 circles of comedy hell. It turns out that the god of reality was actually more similar to the vengeful, wrathful god of the Old Testament than he was to some modern hippie version. God hated comedy, especially comedy that moved people away from the sacred. Virgil informed Dante that the first circle was to be found at the edge of hell. It was called Limbo, and it was filled with the souls of men who didn't necessarily tell sinful jokes. But they didn't tell jokes that pointed people toward God. Their jokes were more frivolous and silly, a lot of dad jokes and puns. The souls in Limbo are not punished directly, but are condemned to suffer harm through living in desire of salvation, while they are forced to endure an endless loop of dad jokes and one-liners.
Sorry, 41 years. We went back to Chicago, same hotel where we got married. Had the same suite of rooms. Only this time I went in the closet and cried.
A lot of people say, how do you stay married for 41 years? Here's the secret. My wife and I go to a romantic restaurant twice a week. Little candlelight, a little wine. She goes Tuesdays, I go Fridays.
They were boys before you came out. Now they're old men.
Oh, lately with my car, I got a new problem. My wife just got her license to drive. And I'll tell you, since my wife is driving, she now has two men in her life. Me and a body and fender man.
My wife hates housework. I bought electric iron, electric dishwasher, electric dryer. She said too many guy restaurants, you had no place to sit down. What did I do? Bought her electric chair?
I was out driving my wife the other day. She told me she was going to make a U-turn. I'll tell you, the letter she made. You'll never find any alphabet.
You must compromise when you're married. She wanted a fur coat, I wanted an automobile. We compromised. Bought her fur coat, we keep in the garage.
Dante quite enjoyed watching the old comedians work at their craft. It seemed this Limbo place wasn't too bad. Inspired by the old timers, he was hashing out a bit in his head that he might try if he ever made it back to the comedy stage.
So I got me one of them AI bot wives, you know? Miss Know-It-All, I call her. Miss Know-It-All. Man, living with her is hell. Absolute hell. I can't take it no more, I tell ya. Miss Know-It-All, she operates the car, you know? So I says, drive straight and fast. And she says, there's a brick wall straight ahead. I'm afraid I can't do that. So I says, okay, I'll get out of the car and you drive straight into me and fast. And Miss Know-It-All, she says, I'm afraid I can't do that. So I says, okay, fine, I'll do it myself. Park the car in the garage, leave it running, and I'll attach a hose and run it through the window. 5 hours later, she says to me, you know, this is an electric vehicle, right? First of all, these guys are hilarious. Comedy legends. I can't understand what they're doing in hell. What is it? Is God woke? Is he some sort of a feminist? He doesn't like anti-wife jokes? I don't get it at all. These guys didn't even use any vulgarity. They didn't even say anything offensive. God isn't woke, he isn't anti-woke. He's anti-joke. It's like I told you, kid. God hates jokes. God sent these people to Limbo because their humor moved people away from the sacred, the pure, and moved people away from God.
Virgil went on to reiterate that these comedians didn't have it so bad. Comedy Limbo wasn't too different from having a joke of the day calendar that you had to read every day of your life for infinity. But, he said, it would get much worse after this. There were 8 more circles of hell. The second circle of hell was lust. A beautiful woman named Brianna took Virgil and Dante to their next destination on a rowboat. While Dante stared at the woman with his mouth agape, Virgil smacked the younger man, telling him that Brianna wasn't any more real than those earthly AI images. A hot, sticky wind blew through the air from the next circle, carrying the unmistakable stench of a Red Lobster dining room.
We're going to Israel for a honeymoon. Incidentally, when I go to Israel, you're on a red, I'm having a tree uprooted.